Welcome to Cult Fiction. This week we're doing a spotlight on Vincent D'onofrio. Are we pronouncing it correctly? Does anybody know how to properly pronounce his last name?
Yeah,
D'onofrio?
Vinny D is his name.
Vinny D,
Vinny
like
D.
VD. I'm just gonna say D'onofrio. I believe that's the correct way to pronounce it. I'm a fan of Vincent D'onofrio. We're gonna real quick before we do that, we're gonna go around the table one time on
If I
the
look it up,
third
it's Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, right? But I don't think
D'Onofrio.
I think you're taking the apostrophe too seriously. Let's talk about Daredevil. I want to talk about the third episode of Daredevil. Real quickly, go around the table. I want to start because I am on record saying that my dream for Daredevil is that it's half kick-ass action show and half legal drama. That has long been my dream because good legal dramas are so hard to find on TV, right? And it doesn't need to be a super serious legal drama, like in depth and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like that's what episode 3 was. It was a lot of it took place in the courtroom. The court case that they were in had stakes. It was important to the plot. Like there's a lot going on. And it was to see Matt Murdock in the courtroom to me just makes that character even more cool than he already is, right? So, and it's so much more entertaining. Tell me you agree. It's so much more entertaining than like Foggy and Karen and Matt sitting around talking about how they can't pay the bills because, oh, we just started a law office, right? Like that's pretty boring. Being actually in court is cool as hell. I just think, right? What do you think, Eric?
No, yeah, I agree. We talked about it last night a little bit. It's certainly much better than, oh no, you accepted oranges for payment
Right,
for this
yeah.
case.
They gave us a
It's like,
lamb.
oh darn. But she was such a nice old lady,
How
It's like,
folksy. Right.
yeah.
I'd rather see the court case than stupid
Right.
office shenanigans.
I remember our buddy Paul said the same thing about Batman. He's like, I want to see Batman actually be kind of a detective show.
Right. Right.
Like he can kick a lot of butt, but it's called Detective Comics. He's the world's greatest detective.
Right.
When is he gonna like detect?
Right.
And same thing with Matt Murdock. He's, being a lawyer is an integral part of his character. You know, maybe maybe show some more lawyering and not just, you know, drinking at Josie's
At the bar
uh
when you're broke.
when you're broke trying
Yeah,
to figure
Right.
out how you're gonna
saving
pay
money by
rent.
drinking at the bar.
Right.
Right. I get that. What do you think, Gus?
This episode?
Of this episode and just
Okay.
in general of
First of
having
all,
more courtroom time.
I'm digging everything so far. Like I like it. It's good. And then this episode was cool. Like it was really cool. I don't want to do any spoilers, but like on the legal part, like usually I don't like legal dramas, right?
Mhm.
Because I think that they're just like fodder to like further the fucking police state. But this shit was good. Like no, this shit was hella good, right?
Yeah,
Like
I liked it.
Like
Yeah.
it was cool and it was there and like I'm not doing any spoilers, but I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen here. Like I was really on the fence. And then just my own prediction for this series, all the fucking wars. Every fucking war is gonna go the fuck down.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, you're seeing it late. There's so much conflict.
Mm,
There's conflict with Fisk and his old lady.
right.
There's conflict in the crime world. There's going to be conflict between Punisher and everybody,
And the cops, yeah.
the cops, right? Because they're hoisting this moniker, right? They're like, there's just all the fucking wars, huge.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
They're setting up a lot of conflicts. Alex, what's your take on episode 3?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement. And it's interesting, too, that because it's a property where you can have a legal drama about things that are fantastical and ridiculous.
Right.
So it's like a legal drama that is about superheroes or whether or not
Didn't even wear
he
his
took his
amulet.
Yeah, they were talking
Amulet.
about the magical amulet, right?
Yeah,
Shows
it's like-
intent. It shows
But it makes
intent.
perfect sense, and it works. And that is what a lawyer would do. In that situation, it's just sort of like, my client would not be without his magical amulet. Just like it's ridiculous, but it works. And
Yeah.
so it's like, I've always liked courtroom dramas, and so it's just kind of like, it's interesting, even as a courtroom drama, to see a new angle on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so far, so good. I mean, 3 episodes in, they've got 3 good ones, and I'm liking where it's going, and I'm liking the possibilities of it. So far, so good. You know, knock
I
on
agree.
wood.
I agree. Bueller, what is your take?
Well, you know, I always have a lot to say, but going back to the courtroom stuff, there's a reason 12 Angry Men is one of the greatest films of all time. People do like the tension and the drama of the courtroom, whether they realize it or not. And I mean, I found myself recently watching, I want to say Juror Number 12 was the name of the movie.
Juror number 2, the new one.
Juror Number 2. Okay. Juror Number 2.
Clint
And
Eastwood, yeah.
no, not that one.
Oh no,
It
different
was
one.
the guy who played the Romeo in Warm Bodies.
Okay.
I can't remember his name. William Holt. I don't know.
Yeah.
That out. Anyway,
He's Beast.
what's that?
He's
Yeah.
Beast, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
him. So anyway, I found myself watching that, and it was like, it wasn't a great movie by any means, but the courtroom drama was fantastic. So I think you're onto something there. Like it is fun to watch these things unfold in the courtroom because there's a lot of tension, and it's not fisticuffs. It's not.
Right.
It's verbal fighting. And
Right.
It's very
It's still
intense.
confrontation. Like it's still very much
it's so
confrontation.
confrontational, and
Yeah.
it gets your adrenaline going, even as a viewer. Like, so that's great. I have no problem with that. You know, in the earlier seasons when you had them taking, you know, lamb and oranges as payment and, you know, going to the bar and drinking on an empty tab and stuff, like, I think that was also important to show them struggling to become what they wanted to become, much like, you know, Peter Parker being a pizza delivery boy
Sure.
and not having a lot of money in his apartment. I think it's important to show that origin story. But now we're where we're at, and we got to move past all that stuff, and we got to be bigger than that. And I'm hoping that's where the series is going to go. As far as the most recent episode goes, man, there's so much to take apart in there. And I know you guys didn't want to spoil stuff, but I mean, we might as well get into it.
Spoilers.
The Punisher symbols. I don't think we saw Punisher kill White Tiger at the end of it.
Right. I think they would have shown
Well,
his face. Right.
I think we've seen enough of the cops having the tattoos and stuff like that to where we know there's some kind of law enforcement gang going on. Do we know if it was actually White Tiger that got killed? No. I mean, I think that's interesting. Do I think it was? Yeah. But do we know that? No, we don't.
Yeah, I was like, that didn't even register for me that it could be anybody but White Tiger.
Yeah, I mean, once his mantle got exposed in the courtroom, anybody else could take up that mantle as well and go walk the streets, like we saw in was it the second Batman wearing the hockey pads and stuff like that?
Mhm.
Like anybody could be doing it. So I'm assuming it was White Tiger. If you follow the storyline, and his aunt will take up the mantle at some point, you know, and we'll see how the story progresses. I don't think it was Punisher that killed him. I do think we're not going to see Punisher for a while. We know we have 18 episodes to get through. There's going to be a break after 9 episodes. And the way this series is going, I don't think we're going to see full Daredevil for a while. So for them to bring in Punisher that quickly after Daredevil, I think is a bad move on their part. I think they want to pleasure delay as much as possible. We're going to wait to see the costume on Daredevil for a while.
Right.
Scene that we saw in the previews where he has to pick from the different colored masks, even though he's blind as shit, but he can pick a different color mask. I don't explain that one to me, but whatever. Then we're going to see the full Daredevil. Then in the next break after the first 9 episodes, then he's going to go find Frank. Then he's going to bring the Punisher in. That's what I think. But I loved it. The ending really caught me off guard. The whole White Tiger thing was like, oh shit.
Right.
Did not see that coming. That was brutal. But I like what Disney's doing. I like that they're letting go of this G-rated bullshit and letting adults have fun with a Disney product that they annexed. And when they annexed it, they had to understand that they were going to have to let go of that rating, and they did. And I'm happy with that.
Agreed, 100%.
So you think he's coming? You don't think he's coming in the first 9 episodes?
Punisher?
I think he's coming after the 9-episode break.
I think he might show up episode 8 or 9, but I don't think
I think he's going to show up like episode 5.
Yeah.
I think they're going to check out who killed him and everything, by the end of that's episode 4. By the end of episode 5, he's probably gonna go see Frank,
Well,
and then Frank will be
if that's
involved
the
in
case,
episode 6 and 7, and then 8 and 9 will be them just wrapping up the first half.
I think if that's the case, then it delays the Daredevil costume longer. I don't think we're going to get Matt Murdock in the costume before or after. I'm sorry, after we get Frank Castle. I think we get the Daredevil costume before we get Punisher. So if they're going to make Matt Murdock go seek out Punisher, then it's gonna delay the costume even longer.
Maybe.
I can see it either way. We'll have to figure it out as more episodes drop. But
Because that would mean the next episode, from what you're saying, that would mean the next episode we're gonna have Daredevil in his costume, and I don't see that happening. And then the episode
I don't. That doesn't mean he's in this costume. He's just trying to figure out what happened to White Tiger. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in the preview, when he goes and he sees Frank the first time, he's not in his costume either.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see Punisher before we see Daredevil and back in the costume.
Okay. Yeah.
I think so. It's going to take a long time. Like I don't understand the whole I'm not Daredevil thing. Like I don't get it. Just from my own perspective. Like I get it on the flick or whatever, but I'm still like, whatever. You are who you are. But still, like I want to know what's it going to take to get Matt Murdock to come out of the, like what's going to be the catalyst,
to
right?
come out of retirement, right?
Because like
this, I mean, the shooting of the guy, and then we still haven't seen the actual villain for this season yet. I mean, we've seen him, but we haven't seen him, right? We've seen who he is, and we've seen him spray painting stuff, but we haven't seen him do anything bad yet.
I was thinking of a different thing where Vanessa had that grimy guy who was the conduit for the psychiatrist or psychologist. They're interchangeable, except one prescribes drugs. But anyway, like when he says, I don't work for the mayor, I work for the man. Who's the man? You know, when he goes and meets the organized crime people.
Right. That's a good question, actually. That's the big bad, right?
Because like that's why I'm starting.
No, that's not the big bad.
So when he says he works for the man, who does he work for?
He's working for Vanessa.
Okay.
And I'll say, and this is supposed to be a Vinny D episode, but I'll say them throwing Kingpin and Vanessa in therapy at the end of episode 2. I wasn't a big fan of that because it seemed like they were on good terms, and then all of a sudden they're in therapy. Like I didn't really see a transition there to where they were on rocky streets.
You didn't see the transition, like when she wasn't like part of his mayoral like celebration. You know, she was annoyed that he came in and like interrupted their.
I didn't really see them on
meeting.
good terms, in all honesty.
Yeah,
that's not how it hit for me.
Okay, well, I mean, I didn't no the transition where the interruption happened and stuff like that felt like a flashback, but I didn't see. It felt like a jump to me. So I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's how it felt.
Yeah, I felt like I kind of felt this whole season that she felt like a slighted Rosie the Riveter and shit. Like she's off taking care of business and shit while Fisk is in the joint or doing rehab or whatever the fuck he's doing.
Hanging out with Echo.
Right. And then, right. He's like getting in touch with, whatever, hanging out with Echo, trying to, oh, you're my surrogate daughter. Right. And then he comes back and he's like, hey, babe, you can't run the empire anymore, blah, blah, blah. We're doing this new thing. And she's like, what the fuck? I've been like laying welds, putting together like aircraft and shit. Now I got to go back to the kitchen selling art. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
That's what I was.
I felt that too. That's what
I didn't get that from that interaction at all. I didn't get that from that. It was like, oh, you're home. Okay, cool. So what are we doing? Oh, we're doing this. Okay. Then we'll do that. And then boom, we're in therapy.
Yeah.
So
there's always the possibility that their whole therapy is just a ruse too, to try to get in with Daredevil's girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious too. What do you guys think about? Are they going to let the Punisher use the classic Punisher symbol? Because there's that whole controversy now, outside the comics and everything about who waves the symbol. They made him have a new symbol. It's completely awful and everything. It's
And
just,
I think that if the new symbol wasn't completely awful and like thoroughly rejected by the fans, they
Mhm.
may have used the new symbol. But I think they're just going to use the old symbol.
I think what
Yeah.
they might end up doing is because somebody lifts his symbol, he just doesn't have a symbol anymore.
I say no symbol.
Uh,
That's I don't know the symbol controversy. I didn't get the
Yeah.
notes, but I but I think that once you're a brand or an idea that's like you got an emblem, you got a symbol, and once people hijack it, you're gonna lose it. You just go without it, right?
So, does anybody have any votes on guest heroes that show up? Because I've seen some chatter online.
Oh man, I think there's so many things that they could do. Like I don't even.
Well, I've seen mentions of other defenders. People seem to want Jessica Jones or Luke Cage to show up.
Like I
Sure.
feel like Jessica Jones and all
Yeah.
them, that's going to come in the second after the break.
I'm not doubting that. I'm
Yeah.
wondering who
You need
you guys think.
reinforcement.
Because I guess there was a lot of rumors of Spider-Man showing up, but Sony won't
Nah.
release Spider-Man for a TV show, only movies.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I'd be stoked.
Spider-Man would, yeah, you can't. Spider-Man would upstage Daredevil. I feel like.
But Jessica Jones showing up would be pretty fucking cool.
That would be,
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
cool as hell.
Luke Cage
Yeah.
would be cool.
That seems
Yeah,
like it'd
Luke
be the
Cage would be
most.
cool.
They could segue Jessica. They could bring in Jessica Jones. I think easier than any of the other street level
Yeah.
characters that they have.
Right, because she's
you
a
know?
private eye.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's real
exactly.
easy. And if you like at this point, since we haven't seen anything else, like, what's his name? Luke Cage is a like a nightclub owner at this point right now. So,
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know, that would be weird. Jessica Jones is by far the easiest one to transition into the show.
I'd love to see it. I would love to see that. She's an
But
awesome.
we still,
Yeah.
again, we still haven't seen the bad for this. Like we saw him spray painting the two kingpins, right? And then I bet dollars to donuts that he was the weird guy in line when the therapist was signing her books.
And then they threw
Right.
focus to the other guy.
What's
Because
that?
they threw focus to the other guy after they showed him.
Right.
So
But
they showed
that
the
guy is
weird
the
guy
bad
in
guy.
line specifically, and then the other guy after him was the guy they focused on later in the episode.
Guy that needed
Right.
Yeah,
But
totally.
the guy who was initially in line going like, okay, that dude, in my opinion, is the bad guy.
Well, we'll
Who would he
And
be then? Like, is he?
what's that?
Who would he be?
He's
Yeah.
Muse.
Muse. Oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
He's Muse.
When
All right.
we talked about all the possible villains, I remember his name coming up. Right?
Yeah. And so he was the one that was spray painting the two Fisks and stuff like that. So
All right. Well, we got Eric
But
on
we
record
haven't seen him
with
do
his
anything
prediction.
yet.
Yeah. He needs to come out and do something.
Yeah.
So before it gets too late, let's shift gears here and let's get to our spotlight. We're going to do a spotlight on Vincent D'onofrio. So we're going to go around the table this time in reverse order, and we're going to do our top four. Then we'll flip it again, and we'll do our over under, and we'll come up with a mount at the end, and then call it good. So back to you, Bueller. What do you got for your Vincent D'onofrio top four? What do you think?
My top four are my favorite.
Your favorites. Your favorites.
So, well, I mean, I thought I was just doing my one favorite. Like, honestly, I love Vinny D in The Breakup, dude. I think he's overlooked in that movie, and his character, every time he's on the screen, steals the show. You got Jennifer Aniston, you got Vince Vaughn, you got Jon Favreau, you got a great cast. Vinny D's in there as part of the brothers who run this tourist company, and every time he's on screen, dude, he steals the show, dude. He's a lot of fun to watch. If we're gonna go my favorites, obviously, you got Daredevil and you got Kingpin. You got Edgar and Men in Black. And then I'm going to throw a weird one at you here. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's one of my favorite Westerns, The Magnificent Seven. he's just this giant man in the Magnificent Seven,
Right.
but he talks with a very high-pitched, squeaky voice, and he's gentle. He's very gentle.
Right.
He's this massive bear of a man. Chris Pratt, I think in the movie even says like, I think that bear was wearing people skin, you know.
Right.
And his character again, it's a great cast. It's an all-star cast, but he's fantastic in that flick. So I guess
that was a good remake actually. It
Yeah,
was
so-
pretty faithful to the original. I liked it. It was
there's my
good.
4 right there.
All right, Alex, what do you got for your picks for Vincent?
So I mean, how many are we picking? Are we picking 4 or is it?
Yeah, pick 4. We gotta condense it down to 4 at the end, right? So I figure everybody throw
because
in
I mean,
4.
the very obvious one I think probably could be on anybody's list is Kingpin. I mean,
Right.
for finger acting alone, you know, it's just like he's absolutely killed it as Kingpin every time he's done anything. We knew it as soon as he was casted and we saw him. It's just like he's gonna knock it out of the park, and he has. Like, and so it's like that's universe. I think that's universal. All of us are gonna pick Kingpin. For me personally, yeah, I would agree with Joe about Men in Black. I've always thought Men in Black is a pretty underrated performance just because he really seems like an alien wearing skin of a human being, and it's
Dude,
very
he's so good.
uncomfortable. Yeah, it's just like
So good.
see it, you know. There's a couple of ones that I really like. It's interesting going back and seeing his filmography because you know you've seen a lot of his movies, but I can almost promise you there's a lot of movies he's done that you probably haven't seen. Yeah, like
Right.
tons of them. Like myself included. I was like, I was gonna recognize half of them, but
He's been in
one
a
of
lot of
the-
movies.
yeah, one of the ones from I think the late '90s or something that I always really liked was the Newton Boys. Yeah, which was him,
Right.
and Matthew McConaughey, and yeah, it was one of those. It's a very charming crime movie about a bunch of brothers that do bank heists, and it's just sort of back in I think 20s or 30s Prohibition times, something like that. And it's a really underrated movie. Like for me, one of my all-time underrated movies that nobody ever talks about is The Blood of Heroes. Right? I loved that movie back in the '90s when it came out. And if you've never seen it, it's basically, one of the sports that played during Mad Max. Yeah, it's like there's been a nuclear wasteland, and they keep themselves busy with this sport of just beating the crap out of each other with sticks and
Dude,
chains. You know, it's a great
That is
movie.
such a great movie. It's a post-apocalyptic sports movie.
Yeah.
Like Hoosiers in after the nuclear war.
Right.
It's amazing. I love that
Except it's
movie.
like, desert wasteland, and
I love that movie.
and they're wearing spare tires for armor, it's just great. It's fantastic. And a lot of people forget about he only had one scene cameo in Ed Wood,
Right.
where he plays Orson Welles.
Right.
And it's only one scene.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only one scene, but I mean he knocks it out of the park. So those are probably pretty much if I had to pick 4 different things from him, those would be my 4. I did pick 4, right? Maybe
All right. Solid.
Can I
Solid.
just say before it slips my mind, Vincent D'onofrio is a chameleon of an actor.
He is.
He shows up, like Alex was saying, he shows up in movies and you forget about it because you don't realize it's him. And that's what makes him such a phenomenal actor and why he's worthy of a spotlight. Not just because he's Kingpin and it's current, but this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing every time he steps on screen.
He is. He absolutely is. What do you got, Gus?
Okay, so if you watch, you know that I don't watch TV or movies, and I get guilted into it by these guys. So, anyway, so I haven't seen his collection of work, but and
I bet nobody has seen all his movies.
no, actually, I like I Wikipedia'd it, and no surprise, there was a bunch of stuff I'd never heard of, but there was like really deep stuff where I was like, I don't even know what this is, and I'd click on it and be like, what is this? And so anyway, 2 parts. One, I'm gonna vote like Fisk. It's
Right.
really good, and I know we're all on board, but like
I think we're all going to put Fisk on because Fisk, he does an amazing job as
but
Fisk.
I had I think I read 4 Punisher comics when I was 12,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there was Kingpin in them, right? And when we watched the first season of Daredevil and Kingpin was in it, I was like, damn, like it's like full on. So super, super good, really good. I don't think the series would be the same without him.
Agreed.
Like I think like no part of it. Like the story doesn't sell, the other actors, even though they're great, it doesn't work. And then I'm gonna go with a totally different direction too. That another movie that probably doesn't work without him is Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Right. And like, if you rewatch the flick, like Matthew McConaughey, whatever, Private Joker.
Modine.
What's that?
Matthew
Matthew
Modine.
Modine.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Yeah,
Modine, whatever. Matthew. Whatever. Fuck. So anyway, he knows who I'm talking about. He knows who he is.
Right.
Yeah, he knows.
Nobody else does too. But no, that first part of the movie, which is the best part of the movie, and it's a totally different movie than the other part of the movie, is just the play between the drill sergeant and Gopher.
Sure.
That's it's really just a two-man movie for like 45 minutes with those two, and everybody else is supporting characters. He pulls it off super well.
Right.
Like, you start out and you're like, oh, there's this likable kind of dumb guy who just got drafted and it's unfortunate. And by the end, you're like, this dude is fucked up.
Right.
All the way fucked up. So I'm voting that, but like, that's all I got. Cause I think the only other thing I've seen him on that I know of is the Law and Order, and we know how I feel. So like I can't hold it against them. I get it. We all got to make money. I can't hold it against Ice-T either. I understand, but you know how we feel.
Yeah. I got you. All right, Eric, what do you got?
Okay, so obviously Fisk. I think Private Pile, obviously, I think is another one. Full Metal Jacket. The second half of that movie, I'm not even sure. I remember like a half a scene, like maybe a scene or two. The first half of that movie's everything. Then, because Men in Black's already been said, I'm gonna go Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, damn it! Nice.
When he was Thor.
Solid.
Yeah. And then, my guilty pleasure, that new Chips movie.
Oh yeah, I never saw that. Was that good?
I fucking thought it was funny. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Wait, who was he in that?
That was Michael.
the bad guy.
Michael Pena was in that, right?
Yeah,
Michael Pena and Dak.
And I love Michael Pena.
I don't have an excuse.
I'll watch just about anything Michael Pena does.
100%.
And then D'Onofrio was the bad guy.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
gonna have
even
to. I'm
remember
gonna have to
him
watch
as
it
the
now.
bad guy. I just remember Dak Shepard and Michael Pena. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't have a good excuse for not having watched it then.
Dude, we have to watch it sometime. I'll watch it with you sometime.
Okay.
I'll watch it too.
I understand it.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'll be down.
I liked it.
I'll be down. Okay, real quick, my picks. Gonna go Men in Black. Gonna go Kingpin. I feel like those two are going on the mount. I mean, the bug in the Edgar suit was amazing. Was the best part of Men in Black, I thought. Kingpin, obviously, like we've talked about, the show just wouldn't be the same without him. He is like the concrete foundation of the Daredevil show, right? He just gives credibility to everybody else. For my other two picks, I'm going to go ahead and say, with Alex, I'm going to say Bloody Heroes. Man, I love that movie. I want to watch that movie again. And then I'm going to pick something a little weird that I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. It's called The Judge. Actually had Robert Downey Jr. in it. And Robert Duvall plays his dad, who is a judge, and then Vincent D'onofrio plays his older brother. It was kind of a comedy, but also kind of a drama, like a father-son drama. Very touching, very, very well done. And D'onofrio plays this integral character in the movie that kind of bridges the relationship between the father and son. Have you guys anybody seen it?
It's called a dramedy.
Dramedy. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I do think
Yeah.
I think we should probably talk about something. If there's people watching this, and they're D'Onofrio fans, they're pulling out their hair because none of us said The Cell.
Right. So that I was
that's
actually
a really overrated movie.
Here's the thing. I was going
Right.
to mention The Cell. I was going to mention The Cell because here's the thing. I didn't like that movie. Right. I didn't like The Cell, but I can say objectively that D'Onofrio did a great job in that movie.
Yeah.
Right. He played a great villain, but there was nothing else about that movie that I thought, the visuals were interesting. They were
Yeah, the art direction is amazing. But
yeah, Jennifer Lopez was in it. Yeah. But the plot and Jennifer Lopez and the development was garbage.
Just making sure I've seen it.
So it gets to a point where, there's going to be people who are watching, or even if it's just us, like, are you talking about his performance or are you talking about the movie, right?
Right.
So if it's
Yeah.
just his performance, the Cell, you put the Cell next to Fisk, next to Men in Black, next to Private Pile, and you get four. You get the chameleon that Joe's talking about, and then you
Right.
throw in, Law and Order or whatever, right? And you
Right.
get this complete array of different characters. So that, I guess that's why I wanted to mention it, because even if you didn't like the movie, it is a mark on his, like, holy shit, this
Yeah.
guy can just do anything
Right.
bored.
Yeah, he
You
can
know.
do anything.
So
Yeah, he is a chameleon. So over under real quick, we can go around the table on this. I just want to say I'm gonna make you guys mad probably because my overrated is Full Metal Jacket. I do believe that he did a good job as Gomer, but the thing is, the reason that movie was so compelling, and the reason the first half of that movie was so compelling, had more to do with Kubrick and his directing than with D'Onofrio's performance. I thought. I think that the way that Gomer was presented on the screen, and especially in that last scene in the bathroom, like the lighting and the angles of the camera, that was all Kubrick, and he did a good job, but I don't think it was an especially challenging role, right? Just my 2 cents. I thought it was overrated. For his underrated performance, I'm actually going to go back to 1999 to a movie that you guys have probably never seen called The 13th Floor, which was like a hardcore science fiction flick.
yeah,
It was like one of the first VR movies, virtual reality movies that ever came out. It was totally convoluted and ridiculous, but at the same time, somehow believable. And I thought his performance in it was dynamite. So back around the table, let's go reverse again. Eric, what's your over under if you got anything?
I guess underrated. I mean, it's
I mean,
tough because I feel like
you could say the Cell. Like that's
yeah, no, because I think that would be, yeah, it depends. I want to say for overrated, I want to say Law and Order,
yeah.
just because of it's that, you know, there's that fine line between this cop is brilliant and this cop is like,
This writing is bad.
Yeah,
this
he's
writing is
psychic.
bad. Exactly. Right. Right. And then, and the thing is you know, as far as underrated, I don't know, because I feel like he is extremely respected in the business. And so I don't, like, when he puts together a performance, it's not going to get underrated, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So I guess I'll just put Chips back there. I enjoyed it. It's not a particularly, difficult role for him. I mean, it was basically probably a paycheck, something he could have done in his sleep and everything. But just the movie in general, I think uh gets underrated. I thought it was funny. Maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
We're gonna have to watch it. We're gonna have
Yeah.
to watch it. Gus, you got an over under?
Not so much. I don't
No?
think I've seen enough of the stuff, really. Like, I mean,
Huh?
I can't place them on most of the stuff you guys talking about. I haven't even seen, and if I did, I forgot about it. I can't place them. But
It's
like,
all right.
just
Fair enough.
just a statement. Dude does all kinds of different things, which
Right.
years ago he does all kinds of different roles, right? Like, I had to, when we started talking about this a couple weeks ago, I was like, was that dude on Law and Order? And then, like, I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, that dude is on Law and Order. Okay, whatever. But like, what's really cool is a lot of actors keep taking the same roles.
Right.
Mm.
We see it all the time. We see it
Right.
all the time. And some of our favorite actors and some of the favorite characters that they play,
Sure.
I'm like, it's
Right.
like, and
I love Robert Downey Jr., but he always plays Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. right. And there's a whole list of this dude's not.
Right.
This dude's not at
Yeah,
all.
I think Jubal and I have talked about it before. It's like guys like Johnny Depp or even Brad Pitt in some cases, they could have done, and I'm about to throw mad shade. They could have done like the Freddie Prinze Jr. thing,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, I'm handsome. I just play handsome stuff,
Right.
and they play gritty shit,
Right.
you know. And
They challenge themselves. They do
they
different
challenge
things.
themselves. They could have just been handsome and made a ton of movies and made a ton of money being handsome, but they actually challenged themselves doing things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What do you got, Alex, for over under?
So, I mean, I'm in agreement with Eric about the overrated being Criminal Intent, Law and Order Criminal Intent. I would even go so far as to say, I mean, and I think Vinny D is a great actor, I would call his performance in that show bad. Simply because you can literally watch clips of that show. If you just watch a random 30-second clip, with no context, you will laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
You will. It's like that Conan O'Brien skit where it's just like random Walker Texas Rangers skit with no
Right.
You can do that with his character. You can absolutely do that with his character.
Who says I have AIDS?
Right.
Yeah. And it's just like because it's just the random shit that he knows.
That's a real fucking clip.
Yeah.
That's a real clip.
Terrible.
But as far as underrated, there was a movie about, I want to say 2011, 2012 with Val Kilmer and Vincent D'onofrio called The Salton Scene.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a kind of an indie crime drama. And it's like, it's interesting because Vincent D plays just a really scuzzy, drug dealing bastard. He like snorted so much speed that his nose fell off. It's just sort of like that kind of character.
As one does.
Yes, and it's just like so he's like a character that's supposed to drug dealer with his prosthetic nose the whole movie, but he's just like
Seen it.
He's not like intimidating the way you think of some villains are. It's just like scuzzy, like you see a scene with him and you want to shower, You're just like, oh, no. I don't know, because that's a role that I don't see get talked about a whole lot in a movie that was probably pretty good, but probably wasn't like great. But it was a good movie that doesn't get talked about, and I think his performance kind of goes against most of the stuff that he's played because he's just such a scuzzy, scummy bastard. Without being intimidating. And the thing with like Kingpin's like intimidating, he's a force. He's a force of nature. This guy is just like, you like avoid him on the street.
No, that's a good pick, though. Salton Sea is a good pick. Bueller, what do you got? Over under. Joe.
Well, so Vincent D'onofrio is an actor. He's an actor. Like you guys brought up, you got to think about Christian Bale. You got to think about Gary Oldman, even Daniel Radcliffe. They challenge themselves. They do different things. And so Vincent D'onofrio has this catalog of just various characters, and it's really hard to narrow anything down. But I'm going to stick with my underrated being The Breakup. If you guys haven't seen The Breakup, got a great cast, and it's not a happy movie. It's a dramedy, and it leaves you feeling kind of gutted. And honestly, when you're done watching it, you pick a side of the movie. It's not like everybody leaves that movie going, yeah, we're all in agreement. Absolutely not. If all 5 of us watched that movie, there would be a 3-2, most likely a 3-2 division amongst us on who was at fault in the breakup. Like it's a good movie all the way around. And Vinny D, every time he's on screen, dude, he's phenomenal. But I'm with you. Overrated. Full Metal Jacket. I hate to say it. Gomer Pyle. He's an epic character. You see him everywhere. He's quoted all the time. I don't think he really made that movie what it was because I don't know what that movie was. He made his portion of the movie fantastic. He did. But watching that movie as a whole, he's a character in just a weird hodgepodge of a Vietnam flick. And now that I've seen it in its entirety fairly recently, within the last 2 years, I feel like I kind of was overhyped for it. So maybe that's on me. I'll take that. It's on me. I was overhyped for it, but still, I feel like Full Metal Jacket's overrated.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem with the movie is just that the impact of that whole story with the boot camp is so if that were just the movie, the impact of that part of the movie is just so much greater than the last half, where it's just sort of like it's not bad, it's a good war movie, but it's just like that
anticlimactic.
The first 45, 50 minutes is just so visceral and
like. But who was it? RDJ said you never go full retard, and he didn't. Came just shy of it. Great job. And there you go.
Yeah, he did say that.
The great philosopher.
He
The
did say
great
that you
pull
never
up
go
the
full
trick.
retard. Yeah.
I was a saucier down in San Antone.
Who are you talking? Who's this person?
That was Tropic Thunder, right?
Tropic
That
Thunder,
was,
bro.
that was,
Yeah.
I see it.
I
Oh,
think,
if you've never seen Tropic Thunder, you
Dude.
haven't lived your life.
Tom Cruise steals that movie. I just want to
Yeah.
say,
What with
Tropic
what?
Thunder, Tom Cruise steals it. I don't know why we're talking about Tropic Thunder because
All right.
Vinny D was not in it, but Tom Cruise. So, all right, so let's put together our top four then. We got definitely his performance as a Kingpin. I think we all picked that. Performance as Edgar, the bug in the Edgar suit in Men in Black. I think we all picked that. Third one's going to be, I mean, Joe and I are against it, but I wouldn't be against putting Gomer up as far as his performance is concerned. Like you said, Eric, with the Cell, like his performance was really good, even though I didn't like the movie. You know,
It's hard because if he's not in that movie, if he's not Gomer Pyle in that movie, then nobody gives a shit about that movie 30 years later. Nobody cares.
maybe.
I would say equal parts the drill sergeant and
Right.
Arlie Ermy. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Thank you. Arlie Ermy and Vinny D made that movie.
yeah, because
Somebody-
it was the two of them together. That guy, he played other things later, and he was, at the end of his life, he was doing commercials as that character,
Right.
essentially,
Yeah.
so you have to give respect to his side of that combat.
I think just for how iconic that part of the movie is. Yeah, I think you would have to put him on the mount just because. I kind of agree. I agree with what you're saying that the direction has a lot to do with it, but I don't think that's a good argument that it mitigates his performance.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't think it was a bad performance. I don't think it was a bad performance at all.
If it's on the mount, I'm not mad about it.
If it's on the mount, I'm not mad about it. I just feel like Kubrick doesn't get enough credit, right, for that movie, because really the reason that movie has such staying power is because of the way the story is told, I think. But I'll put Gomer on the mount. That's fine.
I'm going to defend Gomer on the mount, and I respect what you're saying about Kubrick and everything.
Mhm.
But the thing is, you ask there's two scenes after the Paris Island. There's when the sniper's praying, and then there's Tubuku. No one remembers it. That's it, right?
Right.
And then with the other flick, people know all those lines. Right, people know all these lines. People know all the character interaction, and Kubrick does a good story. What's his name? Arlie something or other. Arlie Emery.
Yeah.
Arlie Emery, right?
Darge.
Right. His presence is huge, but I'm trying to think how would you find another actor that could match that?
Yeah, I don't think you could.
Right? How could you find another actor that could match that? Just overpowering presence.
He was
what the guy does.
Amazing.
He was amazing. I'm defending it. I say
So who's the fourth? What's the fourth?
So the fourth, our options are.
But, I could see honestly putting the Cell up there, just like Eric's saying, just because of the fact of the performance and everything. I don't think we were really in unison after Men in Black and Kingpin. So that's a tough one. Get pretty much, pick one.
Well, I think
if you're watching, then you got to send in your votes.
Right, exactly.
There you go.
As much as I loved, the Blood of Heroes, I know that's not going to go up on the mount.
That's not going to be Vincent D'onofrio.
No, the Judge, he did a great job in The Judge. That's not going to go up on the mount. He's done a bunch of stuff.
Babysitting isn't.
That's not going to go up on the mount.
Right.
But his performance in The Cell, even though I didn't like the movie, again, his performance in it was memorable. So I think you could go with The Cell. So you could say Kingpin, Men in Black, Gomer, and The Cell. I think that's probably.
Yeah. Oh, so here's one I'll say is, if people at home are voting, I would say maybe put up him as Jack Horn in Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
Against,
I brought that one up, dude. He was
against
so
The Cell, and
so
see what
good.
people come up with.
So goddamn good.
The Magnificent Seven was surprisingly good, actually.
Right.
So yeah,
he said, "I'll say a prayer for you, a little one." I was like, bro.
Okay.
No, he's really good. He was really good in that too.
Yeah, he was.
He was really
was.
good in Magnificent Seven. So
I don't think Alex has seen Magnificent Seven, so we're gonna have to watch Chips and Magnificent Seven.
Maybe I'll
That's
watch
gonna
it
be
right now.
And the
It's gonna be
breakup. And
I
you
never
gotta
got
watch
around
the-
and
to
the
it.
breakup.
I didn't avoid it. It just I never got around to it.
All right, that's our amount for Vincent D'onofrio. I think that's our episode for today, guys. Any final thoughts on anything before we bounce out? No. All right, we're all good. Catch you next week. See you later.